fill in your details and submit the form. Endeavor to read and accept the terms and conditions with the confidentiality agreement before registering on the portal. An activation email will be sent to you. Please activate your account within 72 hours. Step 2. Upon your first login, a non-refundable registration invoice will be generated. Step 3. Make payment through telex transfer and upload your proof of payment for confirmation. Step 4. Once your payment is confirmed, you will be granted access to upload your expression of interest documents according to the stated requirements. For full details, download and review the licensing round guidelines and pre-qualification requirements available in the licensing round package section of the portal. Step 5. Complete your registration under My Profile. This page contains company information, Section A, Technical and Operational Evaluation Requirements, Section B, Health, Safety, Environment, Sustainability, and Community Evaluation Requirements, Section C, Financial Evaluation Requirements, and Section D, Corporate and Legal Evaluation Requirements. Ensure all the above sections are completed, then click Finish Profile to submit your EOI documents. Kindly review all information before finalizing. Step 6. Await the outcome of the pre-qualification phase. Successful applicants will be notified. We encourage you to review all details provided in the licensing round package section for clarification on any of the requirements listed in the sections mentioned above. For inquiries, email br202.nuprc.gov.ng. Phone +234 913 901 1133. NUPRC, enabling simplified licensing round processes. Welcome to the Nigeria 2025 Licensing Round portal. The registration and expression of interest process is the first step in this licensing round. It is simple and can be completed by following these steps. Step 1. Visit the official portal at br2025.nuprc.gov.ng, then click on Get Started to register or log in. Select Create Now, fill in your details and submit the form. Endeavor to read and accept the terms and conditions with the confidentiality agreement before registering on the portal. An activation email will be sent to you. Please activate your account within 72 hours. Step 2. Upon your first login, a non-refundable registration invoice will be generated. Step 3. Make payment through telex transfer and upload your proof of payment for confirmation. Step 4. Once your payment is confirmed, you will be granted access to upload your expression of interest documents according to the stated requirements. For full details, download and review the licensing round guidelines and pre-qualification requirements available in the licensing round package section of the portal. Step 5. Complete your registration under My Profile. This page contains company information, Section A, Technical and Operational Evaluation Requirements, Section B, Health, Safety, Environment, Sustainability, and Community Evaluation Requirements, Section C, Financial Evaluation Requirements, and Section D, Corporate and Legal Evaluation Requirements. Ensure all the above sections are completed, then click Finish Profile to submit your EOI documents. Kindly review all information before finalizing. Step 6. Await the outcome of the pre-qualification phase. Successful applicants will be notified. We encourage you to review all details provided in the licensing round package section for clarification on any of the requirements listed in the sections mentioned above. For inquiries, email br202.nuprc.gov.ng. Phone +234 913 901 1133. NUPRC, enabling simplified licensing round processes. Welcome to the Nigeria 2025 Licensing Round portal. The registration and expression of interest process is the first step in this licensing round. It is simple and can be completed by following these steps. Step 1. Visit the official portal at br2025.nuprc.gov.ng, then click on Get Started to register or log in. Select Create Now, fill in your details and submit the form. Endeavor to read and accept the terms and conditions with the confidentiality agreement before registering on the portal. An activation email will be sent to you. Please activate your account within 72 hours. Step 2. Upon your first login, a non-refundable registration invoice will be generated. Step 3. Make payment through Telex transfer and upload your proof of payment for confirmation. Step 4. Once your payment is confirmed, you will be granted access to upload your expression of interest documents according to the stated requirements. For full details, download and review the licensing round guidelines and pre-qualification requirements available in the licensing round package section of the portal. Step 5. Complete your registration under My Profile. This page contains company information, Section A, Technical and Operational Evaluation Requirements, Section B, Health, Safety, Environment, Sustainability, and Community Evaluation Requirements, Section C, Financial Evaluation Requirements, and Section D, Corporate and Legal Evaluation Requirements. Ensure all the above sections are completed, then click Finish Profile to submit your EOI documents. Kindly review all information before finalizing. Step 6. Await the outcome of the pre-qualification phase. Successful applicants will be notified. We encourage you to review all details provided in the licensing round package section for clarification on any of the requirements listed in the sections mentioned above. For inquiries, email br205@nuprc.gov.ng. Phone +234 913 901 1133. NUPRC, enabling simplified licensing round processes. Welcome to the Nigeria 2025 Licensing Round portal. The registration and expression of interest process is the first step in this licensing round. It is simple and can be completed by following these steps. Step 1. Visit the official portal at br2025.nuprc.gov.ng, then click on Get Started to register or log in. Select Create Now, fill in your details and submit the form. Endeavor to read and accept the terms and conditions with the confidentiality agreement before registering on the portal. An activation email will be sent to you. Please activate your account within 72 hours. Step 2. Upon your first login, a non-refundable registration invoice will be generated. Step 3. Make payment through Telex transfer and upload your proof of payment for confirmation.
Can you please find your seats and sit, please?
Step 4. Once your payment is confirmed, you will be granted access to upload your expression of interest documents according to the stated requirements. For full details, download and review the licensing round guidelines and pre-qualification requirements available in the licensing round package section of the portal. Step 5. Complete your registration under My Profile. This page contains company information, Section A, Technical and Operational Evaluation Requirements, Section B, Health, Safety, Environment, Sustainability, and Community Evaluation Requirements, Section C, Financial Evaluation Requirements, and Section D, Corporate and Legal Evaluation Requirements. Ensure all the above sections are completed, then click Finish Profile to submit. your EOI documents. Kindly review all information before finalizing. Step 6. Await the outcome of the pre-qualification phase. Successful applicants will be notified. We encourage you to review all details provided in the licensing round package section for clarification on any of the requirements listed in the sections mentioned above. For inquiries, email br2025@nuprc.gov.ng. Phone +234 913 901 1133. NUPRC, enabling simplified licensing round processes. Welcome to the Nigeria 2025 Licensing Round portal. The registration and expression of interest process is the first step in this licensing round. It is simple and can be completed by following these steps. Step 1. Visit the official portal at br2025.nuprc.gov.ng, then click on Get Started to register or log in. Select Create Now, fill in your details and submit the form. Endeavor to read and accept the terms and conditions with the confidentiality agreement before registering on the portal. An activation email will be sent to you. Please activate your account within 72 hours. Step 2. Upon your first login, a non-refundable registration invoice will be generated. Step 3. Make payment through telex transfer and upload your proof of payment for confirmation. Step 4. Once your payment is confirmed, you will be granted access to upload your expression of interest documents according to the stated requirements. For full details, download and review the licensing round guidelines and pre-qualification requirements available in the licensing round package section of the portal. Step 5. Complete your registration under My Profile. This page contains company information. Section A, Technical and Operational Evaluation Requirements. Section B, Health, Safety, Environment, Sustainability, and Community Evaluation Requirements. Section C, Financial Evaluation Requirements. And Section D, Corporate and Legal Evaluation Requirements. Ensure all the above sections are completed, then click Finish Profile to submit your EOI documents.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the pre-bid conference. I know as our distinguished and esteemed guests were walking into the hall, you saw our banner saying the Nigeria 2025 licensing round. However, remember that today is the 14th of January 2026. But we recall that this engagement was started on the 11th of November 2025 when the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission formally announced the 2025 licensing round, and then we went ahead to launch the bid portal on the 1st of December 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the rendition of the national anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
You may take your seats, please. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again. It is a pleasure to welcome you. Before we proceed, we'll take the safety brief. May I call on Mr. Anene Amecheta, the Eko Hotel HSE officer. Mr. Anana.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to Eko Hotels and Suites. My name is Anene Amecheta from HSC Department, Eko Hotels and Suites. Presently, you are in the venue known as Grand Ballroom for discretion purpose. Also, let's be mindful of the environment, like the entrance way. There's nylon on the floor to avoid any form of slip and fall. There will not be any fire drill this morning, but in case of any fire alarm, you're expected to exit this hall in an orderly manner to avoid any form of stampede. We have 3 different emergency exit routes in this hall, and our signages are there to put you through. Like this is one of them. You can take this way, or behind me, there's another emergency exit route, or also this way, there's also an emergency route. While you do that, our marshals will be on standby to take you to the safest muster point for your safety. Please, when such occurs, you are not expected to make use of any elevator for your own safety. In terms of medical emergencies which you are not praying for, please be assured that Eko Hotels run 24/7 clinic that can attend to such needs with qualified doctors and nurses on standby. Also, Eko Hotel has certified first aiders within this building that can attend to minor issues. In case it's a life-threatening emergency which we are still not praying for, please be assured that Eko Hotel partners with a reputable hospital, which is not far from us, 5 minutes drive, where the IP will be taken to before taken to his or her preferred hospital. In case you want to make use of the restroom, you take it out of this hall, you take a turn by your left, opposite the revolving door, the first turn by your right. You get it for the gents and also for the ladies. In the area of security, please be assured they are in a safe environment in the sense that our uniform men are on standby 24/7, and also our plainclothes security personnel are also on surveillance, even watching over this your gathering. In case you find an intruder into this your gathering, please don't panic. Just make use of any of our in-house phone and dial the number 0. And attention will be given to you without distracting this your gathering. Once again, I welcome you to Eko Hotels and Suites, where your safety and well-being is our priority. Thank you for coming to Eko Hotels and Suites. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anene Amecheta, for ensuring our safety, comfort, and security. We shall now begin.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again. It is a pleasure to welcome you to this pre-bid conference, a critical engagement in the 2025 licensing round, and an important step in ensuring a transparent, competitive, and technically robust process. Today's session is designed to provide clarity and alignment as we collectively engage on the opportunities presented in this round. We are offering 50 oil blocks spanning onshore, shallow water, and deep offshore terrains, each with distinct geological characteristics, technical expectations, and commercial considerations. This diversity reflects both the depth of opportunity available and the level of preparedness required from all prospective bidders. My name is Halima Yusuf Sada, Corporate Communications and Media, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and my co-compare.
Thank you so much, Halima. Good morning, our esteemed guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, investors, stakeholders, members of diplomatic corps, members of the press. My name is Nkechi Nana, and together with Halima, we will guide you through this pre-bid conference as an integral part of a PIA-compliant asset allocation, ensuring that all participants in this room joining us online virtually as well engage with the licensing process with equal access to data, clarity on obligations, and confidence in the integrity of this licensing process.
Thank you, Nkechi. Now we begin the roll call. I'd like to recognize the presence of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, GCFR. I'd like to recognize the presence of Distinguished Senator Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe, Senate Chairman Committee on Gas. Distinguished Senator William Etang, Senate Chairman Committee on Upstream. Honorable Nicholas E. Mutu, House of Representatives Chairman Committee on Gas. Honorable Hassan Al-Hassan Adodogwa, House of Representatives Chairman Committee on Upstream. I'd like to recognize the presence of Distinguished Senator Heineken Lokpo Biri, PhD, Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil. I'd also like to recognize the presence of Right Honorable Ekperikpe Ekpo, Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources Gas, ably represented by Director SDA to the Minister, Mr. Abel Insa. I'd like to recognize the presence of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, represented by Mr. Ujukaye Flagamakri, Director, Energy Security. Mrs. Patience Oyekunle, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and the Commission Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mrs. Orisha Meiwa Ayeson. A round of applause for her, please.
Thank you, Halima. Would also like to acknowledge the presence of the Authority Chief Executive, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Engineer Saidu Mohammed, who is ably represented by Mr. Ebidiapo Ogianwo, who is the Deputy Director, Lagos Regional Office of the NMDPRA. Also would like to recognize the chairman of IPPG, Mr. Adebite Falade. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Engineer Wale Ogunsoya is the chairman of Pattern. Thank you so much for joining us. Would also like to acknowledge the presence of the chairman, Oil Producers Trade Section, OPTS, Mr. Matthew Boy. Thank you so much for joining us and honoring our invitation. Would also like to welcome all of our esteemed guests who have made out time to join us here, physically and also virtually. Would also like to thank the esteemed members of the press for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Nkechi. We will now begin the technical sessions. Today's program will take participants through the overview of blocks and offer, the technical data access and work program expectations, commercial and fiscal terms, qualification and evaluation criteria, bid submission procedures and key timelines. There will be opportunity for questions and clarifications, as we strongly believe that informed participation is fundamental to a successful and credible bidding round. We encourage open, constructive engagement as we proceed. With that, we will begin as outlined in the agenda. Over to you, Nkechi.
Thank you so much, Halima. First off, at this point, we are going to have the welcome remarks, and we'll have someone who is going to set the tone and give us the objectives of this engagement. Please join me and make welcome our Executive Commissioner from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mr. Bashari Ndabawa. Please, a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. Members of the National Assembly here present, the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Oil, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Gas, ably represented, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, my boss, the CCE, distinguished stakeholders, esteemed industry leaders and investors, representatives of the partners institutions, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and under the leadership of our Commission Chief Executive, Mrs. Orisemiwa ASN, I welcome you to the pre-bid conference of the Nigerian 2025 licensing round. This pre-bid conference is convened to ensure clarity, uniform understanding, and equal access to information for all prospective bidders. It is an important engagement designed to guide participants on the expectations, requirements, and practical considerations associated with the participation in the 2025 licensing round, in line with provision of the Petroleum Industry Act, PRA 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is clarificatory in nature. It is not intended for negotiation, modification, or bid parameters, or preferential engagements. All clarifications provided today will be documented and made publicly available to ensure a level playing field for all participants. Objectives of the pre-bid conference. The objective of this conference, number one, is to provide clear guidance on bid requirements and participation rules, including eligibility conditions, consortium arrangement, and operator designation expectations. Two, to clarify work program expectations, including minimum commitments, activity scope, timelines, and the importance of eligibility in bid evaluation. Three, to explain asset information and data availability, including the classification of candidate blocks and the implication for bidder risk assessment. Four, to outline bid submission requirements, including portal use, documentation standards, disclosures, and compliance obligations. Five is to highlight post-award expectations, including performance commitments, guarantees, and the regulatory approach to enforce compliance. The key messages to prospective bidders. Distinguished participants, the Commission wishes to emphasize that bid evaluation will be based on technical capability, financial strengths, and the ability to execute proposed work programs. Participants are also reminded that work program commitments are binding and form a material basis for bid evaluation and post-award oversight. Bidders are therefore encouraged to submit proposals that are realistic, that are funded and executable. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the Commission remains committed to running a fair, competitive, credible, and transparent bid process. The Nigerian 2025 license round presents a structured and orderly opportunity for investment in Nigerian upstream sector. This pre-bid conference is intended to support informed participation and to ensure that all bidders proceed based on the same information and expectations. We encourage you to engage actively during this session and take full advantage of the information and clarification that will be provided by our teams. Once again, I welcome you all to wish you a productive pre-bid conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Commissioner, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mr. Bashari Indaba, for setting the tone and clearly outlining the purpose of today's event. We will now receive goodwill messages from our distinguished guests. It is my honor to invite a leader whose service continues to guide Nigeria's energy sector. May I kindly invite distinguished Senator Heineken Lokbobiri, Honorable Minister of State Petroleum Resources Oil. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you. I was afraid when, the MCs of this conference, were taking more time, to recognize people instead of, adhering strictly to, the purpose of this pre-bid conference. And as minister that supervises, UPRC, I want to give a very clear directive. Let's adhere strictly to the reason why we're here, and please downplay protocols as much as possible so that we can save time, to enable some people who have found time to be here to go back, and do what they're expected to do. So let me simply, narrow the protocol to just 4. I was speaker, of Bayelsa State House of Assembly some 28 years ago. I was a very young man, and I had the privilege of attending a conference in the UK in the year 1999 when I became speaker. Even the Prime Minister was hardly recognized by the Queen of England. I have to tell you, the protocol list was narrowed down to like 3. And so in Nigeria, the biggest problem we have is protocols. Sometimes protocol will take more than 10 minutes, and the speech will be 2 minutes. You have allocated 2 minutes to someone, but the protocol will take 10 minutes. And at the end of the day, I believe that, all of us will agree that those protocols add no value to anybody. You end up annoying more people. All of you here are leaders of the industry. And if I want to single out each of you for recognition, and I'll meet one person, I'll be in trouble. I don't want to make more enemies. I already have enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, the members of the National Assembly, who have found time to be here today, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources, the CC, NUPRC, and permit me to say distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure, to join you today at the 2025 NUPRC licensing, pre-bid conference, here in Lagos. The bidding process has a robust program, which reflects our shared, commitment to transparency, efficiency, and accountability in Nigeria's upstream sector. This upcoming licensing represents a clear opportunity for investors and operators to participate in Nigeria's petroleum industry. But let me make it clear from the beginning that, look, these assets should not be taken as, mere symbols, status symbols. What I've discovered in my over 2 years as minister is that some people have had licenses for 20 years, and they're very proud, going around the world with the nicest suits and saying, look, I have, a license, that had no value to their lives and to the Nigerian economy. But these licenses belong to the federal government of Nigeria. We give you a license to operate within a given time frame, so it doesn't belong to you automatically. But even if you have it and you haven't done anything, what value have you added to yourself? You've ended up wasting your money, and then fooling yourself around the world saying that I have a license and seeking for investors that will never come. Investors will come based on clear parameters. No investor will come because you wear a nice suit. So I want to say from the beginning that, look, these 2025 licenses shouldn't be status symbols for people to say, I have a license. No, that era should be gone and gone forever in Nigeria. In the past, we've had situations, as I said, people who have had licenses have no capacity or intention to develop them. But some of them have even been held for speculation. Let me keep them. One day somebody will come and I'll be able, to get a fortune out of it. That era, as I said earlier, is gone. Our approach today is firmly, anchored on law, the PIA. PIA, if you look at Section 73, provides that the petroleum prospecting licenses, PPLs, and then petroleum mining leases, PMLs, shall only be granted through a fair, transparent, and competitive bidding process, conducted in accordance with the Petroleum Industry Act. Its regulations, there's regulations made by NUPRC, and the licensing round guidelines issued by the NUPRC. So far, NUPRC has complied with all these extant provisions of the PIA, which are conditions precedent, to issuance of license. If you look at Section 74 of the PIA, it further prescribes that license awards must be made through an open, transparent, competitive, and non-discriminatory process, with winning bidders determined based on clearly defined financial, technical, and work program parameters. These provisions exist to promote certainty, remove discretion on the part of politicians, and attract serious, capable investors, into the sector. It's important, at this point, I think, for us to reflect on the 2020, bid round. I wasn't there, but as I came, I had obligation to solve so many problems. Following that 2020 bid round, government received several representations from, people who won those bids. Some of them came for refunds of their bidding, fees. It is clearly stated that if you go for any bid, round, the registration fee is not refundable. But some people came to my office demanding for a refund of, the bidding fee. Others also, said that, look, the blocks or the fields that were given to us were not the way we actually saw them. How is that my business? But I had to confront them. I had to say, look, if you go to a market where you have options, there were several marginal fees for you to bid. You went there, you chose a particular one, you bidded, and you won. If you go to a market and you buy a wrapper, knowing that the wrapper, is the nicest wrapper in the market, and it turned out to be, an okreka wrapper, how is that my business? I wasn't in the market when you did it, but it's your choice that you have to make. A few of these, bidders have also come to say, look, they should be given other acreages, and that, look, this one that will be there for is not good enough, so give us another one. I want to state very clearly that, look, the petroleum industry does not provide for assets exchanges or refunds on these grounds. Once a bid is completed and an award is made, in accordance with the law, the commercial and technical risk lie with the people who chose to bid for those assets. Government, under any law, has no obligation to refund your bidding fee or your signature bonus, because you found out that eventually you didn't see oil, or you only found gas. Government has no obligation. Government didn't pick those assets for you. You picked them based on the data you procured, and you bid for them. This is why, precisely, this pre-bid conference is fundamental, so that everybody is educated about how, this thing is done. It is designed to ensure that all prospective bidders fully understand the assets on the bidding table, the available data, and the applicable law, and the risks that could be involved if we choose to bid for any asset. Accordingly, as government, it is important, for me to say that Government will not be providing the funds or exchanges, for any assets following this bid round. This position is not driven by any discretion. It is driven by law. The law doesn't allow government to refund any of these things. The era, of discretionary awards is also over. And post-bid adjustments is also not provided for, by the law. I therefore encourage all, participants to approach this bid process with utmost clarity, diligence, and realism. Where it is necessary for a few companies to collaborate, form, consortia, so that you can bid for one based on your technical, financial capacity, it's important that you do so. My office is inundated with cases where people who won, these awards have no money to pay signature bonuses. And they had to resort to people to pay for their signature bonuses for them. And the next thing they say, the bid is in my name, I'm the owner of the company. You had no cover to pay for, for the signature bonus. And so I believe that if you don't have money and you have the technical skill, it's important that you form consortia with people who may have money to combine with your technical expertise, so that at the end of the day, it will be a workable business, for, everybody. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, leaders of the industry, it's important for me to assure you that in the last few years, this industry was inundated with arguments about energy transition. But it has changed. If you look at the 2025 International Energy Agency, outlook of the United Nations, and the 2025 OPEC, outlook for 2025, and several other, stakeholders, you will come to the conclusion that the world has changed from energy transition to use of all forms of energy. And hydrocarbon is still reported to be the dominant source of global energy for the foreseeable future. So when you are bidding for any asset here, be rest assured that oil and gas has come to stay. There should be no fear at all. Those proponents of energy transition have changed their mind. They have in fact concurred that, look, they were wrong. And that is why IEA of the United Nations that came up with net zero, people like Bill Gates, who were sponsors of, energy transition, have changed their mind to say, look, we need all forms of energy, more so when the world is expected to grow by another 2 billion by the year 2050, which is just 25 years. And with Nigeria reported to be the third largest country in the world. I don't believe it, but let us just believe that maybe, because some people believe that Nigeria, is the only growing country, that Nigeria will be the third largest country in the next 25 years. Well, let's believe it. And this additional population will live in townships. They will live in townships where they need energy. If you go to my village, even if there's no electricity, people are used to it. They will not bother. But if you live in a township, you need electricity. You need, fossil fuel to be able to drive your cars or to power your generator or whatever. And that is why I'm saying that, look, fossil fuel, hydrocarbon resources will never go away. They will constitute over 50% of global energy sources, for the foreseeable future. So let me conclude, by saying that Nigeria is a mature field. I was talking, to some people, and the person was telling me in South Africa that, look, Nigeria should do so much so that, investment can come the way investments went to Guyana. And I looked at him and I told him, you don't know what you're talking about. The total investment in Guyana is less than half of Bunganov. Some of you may not know. The total, this grammar of people going to Guyana, put the total investment in Guyana together, is less than half of Bunga North. So we are a matured field. And that is why people are attracted, to Nigeria. Everywhere I go to, everybody wants to come to Nigeria. And I've been working very closely with, NUPRC and the other regulators to say, look, we are going to be judged by the number of businesses we enable, not by the number of regulations that we bring out. And I'm very happy that over the last 2 years, this industry has grown so much in terms of confidence, so much in terms of investment, to an extent that the number of FIDs in Africa, we've taken practically 2/3 of them. And this didn't come by accident. It's by deliberate partnership, deliberate work that we've done over the last, 2 years. This bid round, as I said earlier, has a robust program, starting with this pre-bid conference. There'll be road shows in different parts of the world, and as part of the program, or if you are shaking your head, you say you have canceled the road show, that is your own problem. It's your own responsibility. But the timetable I got is that we had, a program where there'll be road shows to sell these blocks in different parts of the world. But whatever it is the NUPRC's responsibility to direct what we should do. As minister, we have a responsibility to support whatever you are doing to ensure that we'll get the best bidders for this bid round. Let me conclude by saying that, look, know thyself is not a crime. This bid round shouldn't be business as usual. I don't see a situation where Lokobi Nigeria Limited will bid against an IOC. Only 2 of us. And I will win them, and I have no money to pay signature bonus. If I can't pay signature bonus, how do I then get the billions of dollars needed to invest? And I'm being asked questions all over the world, and I have no answers. So in UPRC, you are the driver of this process. I believe that it's important for you to ensure that the best people, the best and most competent people financially, technically, are the people who win these blocks. So that we can now give them the shortest possible time in line with law to make the investments more. I've also seen cases where people hold these blocks for 20 years. They haven't even invested. They have no plan to invest them. But let me also say that under the extant PIA, we are going to enforce the drill or drop principle. So that if you
of petroleum resources oil, the CCE of NUPRC, other stakeholders here present. It's my honor to stand before you to deliver this goodwill message on behalf of the Senate Committee on Gas. I'm particularly interested in this licensing round because it has taken into consideration the development of our natural gas resource. So we now have hope that the 209 SCF trillion of gas deposits will be harnessed. The PIA put together by the National Assembly has further strengthened your confidence in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. It has provided for predictability, transparency, and fairness. On that note, I'd like to welcome all of you here and to assure you that you have the total support of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe, Senate Chairman, Committee on Gas. It is now my pleasure to invite distinguished Senator William Etang, Senate Chairman, Committee on Upstream. Sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Senate Committee on Gas, my colleague and brother from the other side, the Right Honorable Adogowa, Honorable Minister, my boss, my brother, my friend, CC, the brand new CC, I won't fail to recognize others, and also my chief, my brother, and our father. You're all welcome. Once again, we're back here, and I bring greetings from the Senate President and the leadership of the Senate. I will start with a little story. Oh, our boss. You're welcome. I will start with a story. We met a guy in Houston with the Honorable Minister. When we interrogated him, he said he has a marginal field in Bayelsa. And the minister said, oh, Bayelsa? Where are you from? He said he's from Bayelsa. Only for us to discover that for the past, whether 15 or 20 years, he has never been to Bayelsa. And he has a marginal field in Bayelsa. Where is the field? He mentioned the field name, but he don't know the place. Then, what intention do you have that such a person to develop this field? I'm saying this because let us not make the same mistake by giving to people that will not be ready to develop. We have a project 1 million barrels. We must achieve it. It's not time for us to play games. It's time for us to be serious. Nigeria is ready. For everybody, especially our foreign partners, we are ready. The federal government is ready. We are saying, come. You have the legislative arm to back it up. That is why we are here. We are here to give support to NUPROC, to the industry, so that we achieve our aim and goals. So that, come, let's do business in Nigeria. Let us add to what we have. The future of Nigeria depends on what we are doing today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the keynote address titled Growing Upstream Investment in Nigeria Through Licensing Round, the Bid Process and Opportunities. Our keynote address will be delivered by a leader whose career reflects depth, reform, and results. With over 3 decades of experience shaping strategy, regulation, and commercial outcomes across Nigeria's energy sector, please join me in welcoming the Commission Chief Executive. Okay, pardon me. Okay, so we'll take one more goodwill message. I would now like to call on Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogwa for the next goodwill message. Apologies, sir. Okay, a round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على نبي الكريم. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, for you I have to mention specifically the Minister, Petroleum Oil, whom by extension is the representative of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please I would like to crave your indulgence to allow me to respectfully stand on the laid down protocols. But I think before then, I will want to say, not just for fun, share with you the predicament of members of the House of Representatives in our democratic system. Predicament because people simply feel, oh, it's National Assembly, National Assembly. Oh yes, it is National Assembly. But National Assembly is involved by 2 chambers, 2 respectable chambers, with due regards and respect to my colleagues, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And these 2 chambers we call bicameral legislature. None of the chambers could operate without the other. But simply because they have what we call a red carpet in the Senate, and we have a green in the House of Reps. In any function we find ourselves, we tend to be covered. So the MC here, who is managing the event, felt, oh, we have gotten 2 senators to speak, so we don't need the members of the House of Representatives. You are wrong. It's an institution, obviously, by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course we are running a constitutional democracy. It's an institution where the two chambers operate like a VAD. And you can apparently agree with me that a VAD that has two wings to fly cannot fly if one of the wing is not working. This one can continue flipping, but it will only fly when the two wings are flipping at the same time. Sorry that is on a lighter mood, but I'm sure the brand new CC knows that very well. The Honorable Minister, who was also a member of the institution, and still a member, once a senator, is always a senator. I still look at you as a senator, not even more of a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a very good morning to all of you here. And jealously to say, on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, Ian Zazel, the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, I bring to you greetings and solidarity from the Green Chambers of the House of Representatives, the House of the Nigerian people. I understand discussions going on here mainly is commercial and to do with the business aspect of the oil and gas sector, which means for those of us who are in the legislature, we may not have much to contribute. But our role here is to simply oversee, because constitutionally we have the oversight function, role, and responsibility as members of the National Assembly. So we use this opportunity to oversight, use this opportunity to hear out those of you who are operators in the oil and gas sectors, and more especially the regulators, to hear from you what are really the nitty-gritties of what this sector, a very important economic sector, holds for Nigerian economy and for the Nigerian people. From the discussions I've had so far, especially when the Honorable Minister was making his presentation, I understand that the sector is good enough for Nigeria. The only probable thing that may be lacking or lagging behind is the commitment, collective commitment and determination by the stakeholders and regulators to make this sector greater and greater and greater and greater again. So I will want to wish everyone here a very good interface. And while we are going home, I believe we have a lot of take home. This take home will help us guide the institution of the legislature to do the right thing. We are the lawmakers, as the Constitution holds for us. And while we are making laws, it does not mean we are the most brilliant people in the country. That's why we are made legislators. We rely on some of the insights we get from you, some of the contributions we have from you to come off with finer laws for the great deals of the business and the sector we are representing in the legislature. So it is in this view that I want to say, because I could remember, the senator knows, the PIA, when it started as a private member bill, I was the chief whip of the House of Representatives. And by statutory provisions of the House, I chaired that special ad hoc committee on PIA. When it finally came up on board, at the end, during Muhammad Buhari's presidency, it came into the to the National Assembly as an executive bill. And again, I was the majority leader of the House of Representatives in the 9th Assembly. So by statutory provisions of our institutions, the leader of the House is the leader of the business of government on the floor of the House. Again, I was the chairman of the petroleum industry bill when it came from the government end. So I coordinated everything about it. So on that note, I want to say without any fear of being quoted, that the PIA as it is today does not mean that it's a perfect legislation. After all, it's human-made. If those of you in the sector, the operators, the regulators, find anything funny, or you have any impediment, something that now creates a problem or challenge to your operations, you just let us know. You can come by way of memorandum, write a memo to the National Assembly, straight to the relevant committees. The gas is there, upstream is there in the Senate, and in the House as well. let us know where you guys are likely to have some frictions, challenges, or impediments embedded in the law. Laws are always dynamic. They are a dynamic process. Whichever piece of law we come up with, no matter how beautiful or brilliant that piece of law may be, it is work in progress. So the PIA is not just like a conclusive document. It's work in progress. And it was not cast on stone. It was not cast on stone. It is a dynamic thing that we can always review, because the Constitution holds that responsibility for us to review our legislations. And the legislative framework is meant for the good, not only for the good of the nation, but for the good of the operators yourselves and the regulators. So on a final note, Madam, I would like to congratulate you for a very good beginning. We'll continue to watch. Where you miss your steps, we blow the whistle. Where you do right, we'll clap for you. Honorable Minister, you're also on the watch. We want to assure you the commitment and determination of the National Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, that we will be good partners in the interest of the overall interest of the people of Nigeria and our nation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me finally agree with you that at the So, Madam, I wish you safe drive. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogoa, House of Representatives, Chairman, Committee on Upstream. Honorable would like to sincerely apologize for the omission, and we hope the apology is accepted. Moving forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the keynote address titled Growing Upstream Investment in Nigeria Through Licensing Round, the Bid Process and Opportunities. Our keynote address will be delivered by a leader whose career reflects depth, reform, and results, with over 3 decades of experience shaping strategy, regulation, and commercial outcomes across Nigeria's energy sector. Please join me in welcoming the Commission Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mrs. Orishemeyiwa Eyeson. A standing ovation for her, please. Keep clapping, please. Keep clapping.
Thank you very much. You know, my boss has instructed no protocols. So I stand on existing protocols. Even having said that, I'm a typical Nigerian. I will still recognize my boss. And the distinguished senators and the House of Rep members here present, royal fathers, operators, and gentlemen of the press, thank you for making time out to join us at this very, very important event. I have a long speech in front of me, and I know the time is already fast spent. The minister set the tone. He said, going forward, we need to be businesslike. And when I see the faces here, I know the reason why you're here is not to listen to a long speech. You want to see what's in the package. What is at the bid round? So I will just touch briefly so that I can make way for my colleagues to exhaustively go through the details of the speech. But having said that, I really want to welcome every one of you to this bid round. This is my first major engagement as the Commission's Chief Executive. It's really my honor, and it's really a big privilege for me to stand before you. I'm not new to the industry. We've gone through the trenches together, and I stand before you leading the commission. You will agree with me that the commission has made a lot of strides in the last couple of years. And it has been enabled primarily by the PIA. I said we've been in the trenches. We struggled to amend our laws for decades. We were fortunate in 2021 to have the PIB enacted. And today, we are witnessing one of the dividends of the PIA. Hitherto the PIA, we had instruments that supported block sitting. With the advent of the PIA, if you do not work your blocks, it will be taken from you. And many of the assets on offer today are recovered as fallow fields. So I think we need to appreciate the federal government and the founding fathers of the PIA for this great job that they have done for us. A round of applause, please. The introductory remark highlighted what we will be expecting to see today. One of the things that we have taken into cognizance is the feedback from the prior bidding processes. And like the minister alluded to in his remarks, we are looking for technically competent operators to work our assets. You will also see the reflection of this in the bidding process, in the detailed presentation that will be made. Again, the minister alluded to the fact that the cost to entry was hitherto prohibitive. And we are happy to announce that His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, Republic of Nigeria, has graciously approved a revision in the signature bonus. And I think that's very, very commendable. Furthermore, we have also tweaked a number of the fees that bidders will be expected to pay prior to first oil. And we will see these reflected in the presentation. These are some of the reforms. Today we have the Tax Act. And it also ties with the reforms to enable the industry forge ahead and achieve government's objective of growth expansion as well as economic sustainability. The chairman Gas raised his own voice to unlocking our gas resources, the numerous incentives given for gas. I think we are beginning to see the dividends. Number of FIDs have been taken, and we believe that even that will also come to play in the bidding process that we are currently on. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, Nigeria should be seen not just as any other destination. It should be seen as the preferred investment destination. I believe the industry today is practically demonstrating that we are moving to becoming the preferred investment destination. The number of indigenous companies that are now producers have increased astronomically. Of course, that comes with its new challenges, because as you have new small producers, you will need to evacuate, you will need to maintain those resources that you currently have, and then we now have to start thinking ahead of time to ensure that we provide the service industry to manage this. So end to end, we'll come for the bid round, we will win, we will develop, but we must be sustainable. So we will continue to work together as an ecosystem. Not only the operators, the service providers, the investors as well, because you will agree that the banks are critical to the survival of this industry. Today, when you look at the NPL statistics, the banks contribute a sizable chunk. And therefore, we need to change that narrative if we want this industry to continue to survive. Because if the banking industry or the financial industry does not survive, we will not. There will be no sustainability for us. So that we will also work on. Without talking too much, and I had said at the beginning that the minister had set the tone, I think we need to go straight into the business. I once again say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making time out. I believe the turnout for me was overwhelming this morning. I know we have a lot of people at the spillover centers. We have quite a number of people logged on online. And we'll be very happy to take your feedback. And just to reiterate that your feedback is important to the Commission. Your feedback is important to the Commission. If we are not able to make the changes to this bid round, you have our assurances that we will look into it and introduce it as appropriate in the next big round. And finally, because of the benefit of the PIA, we are now in a position to do this more regularly. This bid round was supposed to have been done in 2025, concluded in 2025. The Commission has decided that the 2026 bid round will commence almost immediately. So all the preliminary work will start in parallel with the 2025 big round to enable us achieve finalization this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we see a lot happening in the industry, and we want to encourage you all to participate. Participate with credible companies, with credible representations, because where you don't, then you make it difficult for us to progress. We will pull you out of the system. We will pull you out of the process. So please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and welcome once again to the 2025 pre-bid conference for your clarifications and to provide you with more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam CCE. And like she said, we are not here for long speeches. Also, the Honorable Minister mentioned that. So we're jumping right into the technical presentations where you listen and understand the overview of the licensing process, the timeline, the bid submission, the evaluation criteria, as well as assets and data availability. All right, for the technical presentations, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, we would like to reiterate that after the technical presentations, we will have a very, very short break, which after we come back, you have a chance to ask all your questions and make comments, and we'll have a very, very smart team on the stage to answer all your questions. To make the first technical presentation, please join me and welcome to the stage a director from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Dr. Amba Ndoma Eba.
Good morning, our very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As directed by my CCE, I'm to stand on the protocol that had been established. So permit me to stand on that protocol. My job is to present an overview of the bidding round process. But I'm not alone. We are a team of 4. So when I do that overview, I'll call on another of my distinguished colleagues who will take us through the legal and contracting process. Then one of my able colleagues who will equally do the fiscals. Then we will conclude with key takeaways by one of our bosses who is here present, Mr. Enya. Next slide. Wait. Okay. So the content of the presentation, as I said earlier, is the overview of the licensing round process, the license terms and model contracts. Then we'll discuss the fiscals and key takeaways. So my presentation starts with the overview of the licensing round process. These are the contents of what I'm going to discuss. We're going to talk about the licensing round objective. We'll explain the geological locations and the terrain where these blocks are. Then we will expatiate on the blocks on offer. Then we'll categorize the blocks based on data availability. We'll talk about the fees that will be required in the process. Then we go into detail about the bidding process and the requirements for bidding. That will also include the evaluation process, the pre-qualification, and the winning bid. Then I'll conclude here with the scope of the license that we're going to give out, where we will explain the process involved and what are your rights and obligations in the license that will be awarded. So, the NUPRC, pursuant to section 78 to 70, 73 to 78 of the PIA, has the mandate to organize licensing round. And that mandate is achieved through the bidding round process. And on that note, that mandate that is achieved through the bidding round process will aim to, of course, attract investment, which will further enhance energy security. And on that note, we've now included the development and expansion of the deep water exploration and the open of the frontier areas in shallow and offshore terrains. Next slide. Now, This is the objective of the bid round. And if you can see, the bid round is, pursuant to the PIA, transparent. It's going to be organized in a very transparent manner. And the objective of that is energy security. It's going to support global energy needs. Of course, there's value creation. The bid round generates employment for our teeming populations, for our youths, and even those who have contributed significantly to the industry. It will enhance Nigerian content. Very key, the bid round is going to increase reserves, is going to sustain and also increase, enhance production. Of course, there's opportunity for gas expansion and utilization even in the midstream and going down. Of course, the bid round will also attract even direct foreign investment. Next slide. These are the sedimentary basins of Nigeria. We have 7 sedimentary basins in Nigeria. We have the Chad Basin, have the Sokoto Basin, the Benue Trough, Bida Basin, the Anambra Basin, Niger Delta, and the Benin Basin. This bid round, we have blocks across the Chad Basin, the Benue Trough, Anambra Basin, Niger Delta, and the Benin Basin. Maybe over time, we can talk about the Sokoto, but Sokoto Basin, in this bid round, there are no blocks. So this one is showing you where the blocks are located in this present bid round. Next slide. This slide we are telling about the geological locations and the terrain. In the Niger Delta, there are 16 blocks for onshore, 18 in the shallow water, and 1 in the deep water. For Benin Basin, all the blocks are in onshore, and there are 3. Anambra Basin has 4 blocks, they are onshore. The Benue Trough has 4 blocks onshore, and the Chad 4 blocks onshore. The total of all these blocks are 50 blocks on offer in the present bid round. This as a rider to the former slides, but we broke it down to show the number of the blocks specific. If you go to the guidelines and our portal, these blocks are listed. But we have clearly stated the number of blocks and the names of the blocks on onshore and in the Benin, onshore, Anambra, onshore, Chad, and Benue Trough. So these are the specific number of blocks that are on offer and the terrain that they reside. Next slide, please. So here is the categorization of the data availability. In this licensing round, in line with our spirit of transparency, we have to tell you exactly what is. And when you come here, we have 2 categories. We have blocks that has data, and we have blocks that do not have data. And the blocks that do not have data, it will be specific to the further requirement and table that will be presented in the portal on how that will be assessed. The one that has data, a table will equally be presented for the pre-qualified bidders, how they can access data. But the data for blocks that has data is in the NDR. The NDR has 2D, 3D data, NOW reports, analog reports, and nearby fields. And we have TGS. TGS also have 3D, seismic, and mega survey data that is available. Then the TGS and Petro data also has the OLA 3D and all other MBBS sampling and the rest. So what that says is that where you have data, these are the data that's available, and the data and the link for you to have the data will be provided very clearly on the portal where you can access those data. And the blocks that do not have data will clearly be stated that this block has limited, or no data. Next slide. Now, this slide is for the application process or application fee. We start with the application fee, expression of interest. You register with $10,000. And after that, we do data prying and data leasing. But we want to respectfully emphasize, data prying is not mandatory. However, data leasing is mandatory because before you submit an application, you must list that data for that application too. So when you now get your data leasing, you now proceed with your application. The application and processing fee is $25 million. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The application and processing fee is $25,000 per bid submission. So any block that you wish to apply for, you pay $25,000 per bid submission. And after that, we will, process you will now move to the next stage where the pre-qualified that will be notified. Go to the next slide. This slide is talking about the entire bid process. So we have to be clear for the audience to see that the bid process, number one, starts with registration and pre-qualification. After this, you get to the data purchase and data access. And I want to, like I said previously, maybe emphasize here in the data purchase. We've said it, the prying is not compulsory, but the leasing is compulsory. And the analog data is also not compulsory, because the analog data are for nearby wells and other surrounding areas. So the third stage will now be the technical bid submission after you've been pre-qualified. So that technical bid submission is where you submit per block. And as will be stated and emphasized by my next presenter, you are entitled to submit a maximum of 2 blocks. Then after the technical bid submission, we go to the technical bid evaluation. Those that succeed in the technical bid submission, after the evaluation, will be notified. And after that notification, a bid conference where the stakeholders will be invited will be organized, where everything will be done live, everything will be done transparent for everybody to see how the winning bidder will emerge. Next slide. These are the pre-qualification requirements. After the registration phase and the submission of those data, these are the requirements that we expect that you submit for the pre-qualification. For technical and operational, we are looking at your experience across geology, petroleum engineering, drilling, reservoir management, production, and we want to see your experience too across maybe economics, HSC, and the likes, and see the experience you have. So the emphasis here is the experience, because we want to qualify companies that have experience in E&P operation. Then the second to that is we consider your financial capability. And how do we measure that? We look at the turnover. We can look at the cash that you have in the bank and the parent company maybe guarantee is the company reputable, and they guarantee, a subsidiary that they have that capability to, support the operation. That is also taken into consideration. The last one is corporate and legal. Of course, you must be a legal entity, incorporated under CAMA, because the law is clear that you don't award, a block to a company that is not legal. However, a foreign company can apply. We are going also to check all these documents with that entity, whether foreign. However, before the award, the foreign company will be required to incorporate the company under CAMA for Nigeria for us to do the award, but can still win, but will be required to incorporate that company for us to give the award. Next slide. This slide is for the technical bid requirements. After the pre-qualification, you go to the technical bid, the technical qualification. So these are the requirements. And this is the detailed submission that the commission will look at. We are going to look at your understanding of the subsurface and the acreage dynamics, even the acreage you are going to bid. We're going to look at details, how you understanding you are. Then we'll look at your exploration work program, which is very, very key. Because for exploration work program, of course, it varies across onshore, offshore, deep water, and even in the frontier. But we want to see what you propose to do. Because under the PIA, for initial exploration period, you are required to drill one well, and the optional extension period, you drill another well. However, we want those who has capacity or robustness to do more work program. So if in your exploration work program, you decide to do the appraisal wells, and now proceed to the next stage, which is development concept. And the development concept, want to see your drilling, want to see your completion philosophy, want to see how you are going to do your infill, your model, want to see your static model, want to see your dynamic, and how you are going to do infill over time of the development of the asset. Then your reservoir management strategy. We look at a reservoir management strategy and ultimately production mechanism. Then your evacuation. How are you going to evacuate this crude that will come out of this operation? Of course, very important is we talk about sustainability, environment, and host community development. We're going to look at that. How are you going to affect our communities? And mind you, we even had the host com that the commission is very deeply implementing, and the stakeholders have applauded same. Then we will want to see your understanding of the fiscal awareness. When you submit your economics, the Petroleum Industry Act has made provision for the fiscals and other incentives enabled by the president. So we want to see your understanding that that's a key input to the economics. However, then finally, we will see your project life cycle, your abandonment provisions and all that. So these are the key parameters you are going to submit for the technical evaluation. The technical evaluation metrics and score and all that will be developed and put on the portal after the pre-qualification for the consideration of investors and the very distinguished stakeholders in this regard. Next slide. This slide is talking about the elements of the bid parameters, the commercial bid parameters, the elements. Now, first is the signature bonus. The signature bonus, of course, as we've discussed, we have a minimum, we have a maximum. So, but you can post the signature bonus that will be determined, that will determine a score for you. Then the next one is the work program commitment. If you are committed to, in the first exploration period, the PIA provides for 2 wells. However, as somebody who has technical expertise and don't have so much money, you say, no, I'm going to give you 3-4 wells. It's going to give you a higher weighting. It means you are going to do that. But we will hold you. When you win the award, we are going to hold you to what you said. That work program that made you to win your neighbor will be used in the award, and we hold you to it, applying the drip and drop provision in that regard. So when you win, you should remember that what I said will still pursue me to the future. Now, I want to most humbly and respectfully inform this audience that the Commission has done something very marvelous. The CC, in her wisdom and experience, has directed, which is pursuant to the PIA and pursuant to the prerogative of the Commission in line with the law, that the minimum work program security, which is a very key enabler so that it will attract people, it will make investors happy, that she, from 100%, they are supposed to post as a work program bond commitment. The CC has reduced it to only 1%. So that is minimum, and that is a very marvelous thing that the Commission has done to support business, to enable business. However, you can post 20%. You can even post 100. But when you do that and you win, because it's going to be a score for you, if you tell us that, okay, this work program, yes, Commission as an enabler has given you 1%, no problem. Then somebody posts 5 or 10 or 20, the person will win. But note that when they say every man is propelled from the point of the present into the future by the energy of the past. So when the result of the award is being given to you, we are going to invoke the energy of the past and give to you to push that 20% that made you to win for you to have that award. So that is very clear, and I wish to respectfully bring the attention to this. Then, another very key thing that the Commission Chief Executive, in our wisdom, has brought to the fore, which is a deviation from the previous bid round to balance process, is the technical experience. The technical experience, after it's being evaluated, the weighted score of this technical experience is also going to be part of the commercial bid determination, where if you pass in the technical, you take that your experience into the commercial, so that those with technical competence, because very important, you must have technical competence and must have finance. And if you have technical competence and eventually, even in the commercial, you are not able to make it because people push a lot of this to win in that kind of thing. So we are taking all the gates. The change in this process is that we are taking all the gates to the last stage, so that anybody that's bringing his volume will be able to meet at the last stage for that winning. Next bit, next slide. Next slide, okay. So here, this is the determination of the winning bid. At the bid conference, that the stakeholders will be invited and everybody will be present. The winning bid will be determined by the technical score, by the commercial score, and the weighted average of both. That is where the winning bidder will emerge in an open, transparent bid conference where everybody will be invited. Next slide. This slide, which is going to be my last slide before I call one of my very distinguished colleagues to do justice to his own part. This slide is telling us what the PPL is. It's telling us the scope of the PPL. And it's telling us that the PPL has exclusive right to drill exploration wells, to drill appraisal wells. And that the PPL also has right to dispose of the crude that will be gotten from the test. Now, it has equally told us that the PPL do not have exclusive right for petroleum exploration. What that means is, if you have a PPL, some other person can still have a PML to help further underrigs the petroleum accumulation in that area, but without drilling anywhere. And it gives you also right to submit a field development plan. You'll be enabled by the commission when you drill your first well, you do the appraisal well, you submit an FDP, the commission will enable it, the commission will approve the FDP that you have submitted. After the approval of the FDP, this PPL will now enable you to migrate and convert to a PML. That is where you can now have the license to start production. PPL is for 3 years in shallow water and onshore, 5 years for deep water, and 5 years for frontier. So the PML is for 20 years. So when you are able to walk through your process and convert to a PML, you now have a 20-year license. On that note, I will most humbly and respectfully invite my brother and my colleague, Olorogun Austin Okwa, to get ready for his own presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that detailed and clarifying presentation. Dr. Amber Ndoma Egber, to take us through the enabling laws and guidelines, licensing terms, and model contract, may I invite Mr. Augustine Okwa, Head ADRC, NUPRC.
Good morning. I'll be standing on the existing protocol and go through the slide on licensing terms and model contracts. So in this presentation, I will take us through some of the notable provisions of the guidelines, which of course is published on our portal already. Then the factors the Commission will consider to disqualify pre-qualified applicants. I'll speak to the bid guarantee, and then speak to the PPA that will be granted upon the declaration of the winning bidder. Then the contractual model that underpin the bid process, and some regulatory compliance issues and enforcement framework. Next slide, please. So my colleague, Dr. Egber, has spoken to this. He had spoken to who are eligible to participate in the bid process. So he did mention that it must be a registered entity in Nigeria, and he said foreign company can participate at this initial stage. But before the issuance of the license, you must incorporate an entity in Nigeria as prescribed under the law. But the addition to this is that you can also participate as a consortium. What it means that group of companies, 1 or 2 or 5 entities can come together and form a consortium. If you form a consortium for the purpose of this bid, you then have to enter into a consortium agreement, which will spell out that these bodies have come together, these entities have come together to participate as consortium, and you submit it as part of your bid submission. Key element is that in that your consortium agreement, you must designate somebody as the operator, who will eventually operate the assets, assuming you win the bid. That designated consortium member, who is the operator, must have a minimum of 30% participating interest in that consortium. You could have up to 90, but the minimum threshold is 30%. Next slide, please. Next slide. So, you were told by my colleague that the process is the gated process, that you are going to have the pre-qualification stage. After that, we then go to the bid submission. After the pre-qualification, if you have found one thing in any of this area I'm going to speak to very quickly, you will be disqualified. First, if you misrepresent facts in your bid submission, if you give us forged documents, you misrepresent facts, you will be disqualified even after you have been declared the winner. Even if you have been awarded, you will be disqualified. We will discover at any time that you've misrepresented facts in your bid submission. Also, if you are currently holding a license or lease, and you have failed to fulfill your obligation to the government, you have not paid your grant rents, your concession renter, your royalties, then you will be disqualified. Or, if you have unpaid taxes as prescribed under the law, we will disqualify you. Now, if the company, its directors, shareholders, or promoters have been found unfit by a court of competent jurisdiction, either in a corrupt charges and the rest, that impute to your integrity and your financial capability, we would disqualify you. Again, if you breach the terms of the confidentiality agreement that you signed to in the course of your bid submission, you will be disqualified. And of course, all these provisions relating to the disqualification are enshrined again in the licensing bid regulations. So we will just carry out this as enshrined in our enabling acts. Please go on. One of the requirements you are meant to submit is your bid guarantee. You are not submitting it at your pre-qualification stage. When you have been pre-qualified and you then need to submit your bid, you'll be required to furnish us a bid guarantee. The bid guarantee must reflect a 5% of your proposed signature bonus. You will recall that my colleague spoke to the signature bonus. You have a threshold. Whatever you have said you are going to pay as your signature bonus, you must submit a bid that reflects 5% of that proposed signature bonus. When you submit this bid guarantee to us, it will have a validity of 120 days after the commercial bid conference. You know, we'll have a commercial bid conference where the winning bidder will be declared. From that date of the conference, the bid guarantee will have a validity period of 120 days. But there's a caveat. If before the expiration of the 120 days, you have not been awarded the license, so prior to the award of the license, assuming the spill into 150 days, 160 days, those extended period, you'll be made to extend your bid guarantee for those periods. And that's why we said the bid guarantee will be extended for the period until the award of the license to you. And your bid guarantee that will be submitted has to come from banks, not insurance companies. And the rating of the banks is that the banks must be a BB rating, or Nigerian bank, international banks with BB rating, or Nigerian banks with BB rating. Any bid that is submitted without a bid guarantee will be rejected. In other words, you may have made your submission, but in the course of the evaluation, we'll just park it aside. So it will be presumed you never submitted a bid, and you will be evaluated in any form. Next slide, please. When we hold the commercial bid conference and a winning bidder has been declared through a transparent process, the winning bidder will be offered an offer of an award, offer letter. The offer letter, during the pre-bidders conference, the winning bidder will emerge, and here and then we will know the reserve bidder. The winning bidder will be offered the letter, and then the letter will contain condition precedent for the award of the PPL, which the winning bidder is required to fulfill. These conditions, amongst others, include that you need to furnish your work commitment guarantee. You must give us evidence of payment of your rent for the first 5 years. For the first year. And importantly, you must pay the signature bonus you have told us in your bid submission within 90 days after the issuance of the offer letter. Now, where the winning bidder fails to fulfill any of these, or all of these conditions, or any of them, without recourse to you, it is bye-bye. We will then immediately move and invite the reserve bidder, and the reserve bidder will be offered that same asset with these conditions. I will expect the reserve bidder to fulfill these conditions within the same time frame. Next slide, please. This slide speaks to the contractual arrangements that the winning bidder will have to apply to. So the entire process of the license is either is going to be operated on a concessional arrangement or a production sharing contract arrangement. The applicant at the bid submission is at liberty to indicate under what contractual arrangement the bid is being submitted. And that you will be evaluated on that contractual arrangement you have chosen. Primarily, the main distinction is that if you choose concessional arrangements, note, the government, through NMPC, has a right to back in, to participate up to 60% into that asset at any time during the lifespan of the assets. But if you choose the production sharing contract, the NMPC will act as the concessionaire on behalf of the government. It means the license will be issued to NMPC, and what will be given to you is the contractual right. And then you then sign, execute what we call a production sharing contract agreement with NMPC, acting as a concessionaire for the government. So this bid licensing package, I did mention that you have some condition precedent that you need to fulfill before the issuance of the license. If I fulfill all of those conditions, you will then be issued the license instrument, which is the petroleum prospecting license. Attached to the license is the general license condition. It's an extra to it. The general license condition speaks to the general terms and conditions you need to fulfill in ensuring that you bring that asset to production, as the case may be. After your exploration phase, and you then need to convert to PML, you bring it to production. But this speaks to what the conditions you must fulfill. And then we attach the modern contract, which I've just spoken to. So if you are doing a concession, so a concession contract will be attached to your own license. If it's a PSC you have opted for, the PSC contract will be attached, the PSC agreement will be attached to your license. Then your work program commitment. In your bid, you had made that commitment. So that your commitment will form part of the license package that you'll be given. And the work program performance certificates, which my colleague spoke to, whatever you have committed to do in your work program, you are meant to put minimum of 1% of it, or you can do 100% as the spirit directs you or as your pocket directs. But we'll attach it to it as part of the bid package. And then you have a map showing the description of your license area. Next slide, please. So this brings me to my last slide. Once I finish, my colleague will come and speak to the fiscals. Some of the things here are things I may have said in the course of my my earlier slides. As you submit your bid, in submission of your bid, you cannot apply for more than 2 assets, either as company, as shareholder, if you submit a bid, or as a shareholder in other companies, or as an affiliate. The max is 2. Any submission done outside these 2 will not be evaluated. Most of the submission is electronic, so we can't have real time to determine the sequence of your submission. And so please limit yourself to the 2. But if you submit more than 2, government will take your application fee, will keep it, will not refund it. That bid you've submitted, we will not consider it. Then you must indicate who the operator is going to be, who must have a minimum of 30% participating interest. I did mention that before. And your consortium members, of course you can change consortium members, a member or some of the members, after the pre-qualification. But if you do that, you must seek the consent of the commission. After the declaration of the winning bidder, and you then want to change any member of your consortium, It will then go through the assignment process prescribed under the Act, where you have to go and get ministerial consent. Minister, they must come back to you to do that one, sir. Then, we have said your work program commitment will be enforced. What you are committed to do, we'll enforce it. And finally, if there is a change of control, the Act prescribes that if you have a change of control, and it speaks to the percentage of 50%, you then have to seek ministerial consent for that change of control. On this note, I want to, sorry. Importantly, the Act has prescribed partial revocation of non-participating member in a JV arrangement. So if you form a consortium, and for whatever reason, you want to forestall the other members of the consortium from carrying out diligent exploitation of that asset. The law has given the Commission power to make a recommendation to the minister that this member who is not fulfilling his obligation, his participatory interest will be revoked so that the others who want to develop the asset will continue. And that will apply to the latter. On this note, I want to hand over the microphone to my colleague, Okon Aniti, to speak to the fiscals.
Good one. Thank you. Alima, I thought you'd be here. Distinguished invitees, after the enabling rules, I'm here to talk about the fiscal terms. I know most of you are here to hear from us whether there are changes to the rules. Be rest assured that there are no changes. My outline will be in terms of the legal basis for the terms, the expected obligations, and then the critical policy interventions that have been made by the President and is being operationalized by the Commission to support investment and drive growth in the Nigerian ecosystem. Legal basis, as usual, is in the Petroleum Industry Act. It's good to note that the taxation framework has been replicated and set out in the Nigerian Tax Administration. The critical policies I earlier mentioned, as recommended by the Honourable Minister, through the recommendations of the Commission and endorsed by the President, is providing the right support to these two principal laws to support investment in our critical gas sector, deep water, and also restore tax credits to efficient operators. So every bidder should plan their operational team to ensure they tap into these measures on ground. These laws provide the obligations. Next slide. Who is controlling the? Provide the obligations that you are expected to pay to the government. They include the usual royalties, the taxes, and the statutory fees. The royalties are split into other common type: oil royalties and gas royalties. The oil royalties are based on production, whether test or commercial, on a sliding scale arrangement, and across all the terrain. There's also a price reflective royalty, where in the event of an higher oil price, the government deserves the right to retain some of the values from the windfall with the high oil price. On the other hand, the gas royalties is on the sale volumes. And to promote the channel of our critical energy needs, we have incentivized the operators with a lower gas sale rate for domestic market against the export market. So that is also a way forward when you are developing your development planning for this asset upon being a successful bidder. Regarding the taxes have been split into resource tax and the general company income tax. The resource tax is the other common tax that is on the proceeds generated from the core crude oil and feed condensate, with deductions reference to the cost of production of the crude oil and the associated gas that comes from that crude oil. This to moderate the burden and also ensure the state retains some net benefit from the crude oil revenues. On the other hand, the company income tax is the general income tax payable by all companies operating in Nigeria, but tied in particular to the upstream petroleum companies. The bonuses, rents, and the statutory fees consist of the initial upfront payment you pay to be awarded this asset, as laid out by my colleagues, the session bonus, the premium to convert or be granted a PML, the lease right from this asset, after satisfaction of the terms and conditions required, and the bonus to renew the lease that has been granted. It's good to note that as endorsed by the Honourable Minister, the Commission is doing all what they can in consultation with the industry to benchmark the payable premium for the grant of a PML so as to be in line with global standard. So expect a good outcome from our new dynamic CC. Other payable fees are applicable based on the activities you carry out on the asset. Then the government also retains some revenues from their participation, where the backing rights is exercised, and also from the profit shared in the PSC's arrangement. Next. I will certainly mention the targeted policy interventions made by the President to spur investment in the oil and gas space. Of particular note are the incentives to promote greenfield non-associated gas development, to drive our foreign exchange earnings and increase the gas supply for domestic energy needs. Also, the President has graciously provided incentives to trigger investment decisions to be conducted in deep water projects. And he's also graciously restored much needed tax credit for efficient operators so as to encourage good operational behavior and the right team to be assembled. I assure you that as of date, we have the story sources of investment decision taken by the Sunlink JV on HA block because of these incentives. We also have the investment decision taken on the NNPC Bonga Nord PSC because of this initiative. So there are green carrots awaiting you, but take note that this carrot will be triggered when you attain commercial production as scheduled. So they are informed by the timing of that production, the reserve size, and the quantum of the cost savings you will be able to deliver. You can go through this in the Nigerian Tax Act, which is also has been published on our website, so as to see how to plan your development planning to tap into these incentives and increase return to your financial providers. With these fiscal rules as laid out, and with the enabling mandates of the Commission, we expect that the 2025 bids on offer in this bid round will be operationalized and produced within the time frame set, and Nigeria will increase their oil and gas reserve production, ensure job and value creation, and meet up our domestic energy needs while providing government revenues in line with the PIA. Thank you so much. That is the end of my station.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anyete Okon. Thank you for shedding light on the fiscal considerations critical to bidders' decision-making. We will be taking a 10-minute comfort break. We should be back in exactly 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes past 12. But before then, I would like to call on our Commission Chief Executive for a group photograph, the Honorable Minister, the distinguished Senator, Honorable Member, House of Representatives. Can you join our Chief Executive on stage for a group photograph, please? The next batch of the photograph, I would like the senior executives of the NUPRC to join the photograph. We're starting with the Commission Chief Executive, please. The Honorable Minister, distinguished Senators, Honorable House of Representatives, the senior executives, Executive Commissioner, Mr. Indabawa, please, CSLA, NUPRC senior executives, please, can you be on the stage for the group photograph? Okay, immediately after this one, Mr. Friday, let them take this one. Then the senior executives can join in, please. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Mr. Indabawa, please stand by, please, sir. Thank you. Can the NUPRC senior executives join in, please? Can we also have the bid round committee stand by to join in, please? Mr. Abel, yes, please join the photograph. Madam Ayoan? NUPRC senior executives, please join the photograph. Thank you. Should we move backwards, Mr. Friday? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Where is Friday?
Please pay attention to your personal belongings. Don't go too far. It's just a 10-minute stretch break. We will be having a networking session after the next session. So don't go too far. Please stand by. It's just a 10-minute network stretch break, please. Thank you. Please pay attention to your personal belongings. Watch over them. It's just a 10-minute comfort break, please. We have exactly 9 minutes left. Just a comfort break, please.
So I'm writing an essay on cats. Cats in art history. I'm an art history major, and this final is due on Friday. Same day, I'm going on a road trip with my best friend Gabby.
We don't have much
Luckily,
time. We
I
have
write
8
with
minutes
Grammarly.
left. Thank
What
you.
once took me hours now takes minutes.
I think we should settle down.
So I can focus on what matters most, my voice.
I thought we canceled the tea break and all that. There's tea break, but there's no special.
Okay, so we have exactly 5 more minutes to go. Can we start settling down, please? Yeah, bring them closer. Bring them closer. Can we start settling down, please? We have 3 minutes to go. 3 more minutes.
Petroleum Prospecting License. Who can actually bid for petroleum license in Nigeria? Let's break it down. The 2025 licensing round is
Please and settle down.
both Nigerian and foreign companies can participate. But here's the key point. While a foreign company can take part in the process, it must be duly registered at 17, subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act. So, for you is simple. Read globally, rate locally. That's how NEPRC ensures transparency, fairness, and compliance. Discover more at year2025.neprc.gov.ng.
Please settle down.
Can we settle down, please? The tea break is officially over. Please settle down so we may proceed with the next session. Thank you. Okay, people, can we settle down, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, please, it's time for the question and answer session. Please settle down.
Mr. Yang, are you ready? Okay. The hall is a bit noisy. If we can just settle down, please. If you still want to have tea, you can have it in the tea room, but please settle down. Those inside the hall should please settle down. We are ready to proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, may we settle down for the next session, please. The doors will be closed in the next 2 minutes. The doors will be closed in the next 2 minutes. Please let us settle down for the next session. The question and answer session, please. Let us settle down for the next session, please. Thank you.
We are about to close the doors. Talking Adar, you did now. Where is it?
I did.
You did now? Yes, ma. No, ma.
Just go near here.
Okay, I guess the hall is a bit more calm now. Please, for those standing, kindly sit down. Take your seats, please. those standing by the door, can you please settle down? Can you settle down, please? Can you please take your seats, those by the door? Thank you. I think we're good to go. Nkechi. Yes, finally. Thank you very much. Can those standing, can you sit down, please? So we proceed. So the hall is a bit more calmer. Thank you. Nkechi, you may proceed.
Thank you, Halima. Welcome back, everyone. Good afternoon, our distinguished guests, and thanks for giving us your time. And thank you also to all the presenters that have given us so much knowledge this afternoon. Before we commence, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NETI, Honorable Musa Saki Ada. Thanks for joining us. And now we're moving, a round of applause, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we're moving over. I understand we're going to have the key takeaways from the 3 presentations that were made earlier. And then we move over to the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, any comments, just put your hand up and we will reach out to you. Someone will hand you a microphone. This session will be moderated by a director from the NUPRC, Mr. Edu Inyang. I'll just like to reiterate that to ensure that we cover as many questions as possible, please may I kindly request that questions be concise and directly related to the presentations that were made earlier. Please, when you want to ask your questions, introduce yourself and your organizations before you ask your question. Over to you, Mr. Inyang.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Earlier on, our colleagues made 3 sets of presentation. The first presentation was an overview of the 2025 bid round, and this was followed by the presentation on the legal aspects of the exercise. Then, lastly, the presentation on the fiscal framework. So taking all this presentation together, what would be our key takeaway? Next slide, please. 1, the 2025 bid round is organized in compliance with the PIA. Also, there's a regulatory certainty that would enhance investors' confidence. 3, 50 blocks are offered, and these 50 blocks cut across 5 sedimentary basins. We have earlier stated that some of these blocks don't have data. So we are upfront. Some of the blocks has data, some don't have data. So we needed to be upfront so that the investors would take the decision. We've been getting feedback, from the discussion we have with the industry, and this feedback were used to develop a very robust bidding process. Severally, we had discussions with the investors. So what we hear on and on is that the integrity and the transparency of the process. So the NUPRC has decided to address these issues in the following ways. 1, we have a robust guidelines. The guidelines is a document that helps the investors to navigate through the process. This guideline is robust, it is clear, and it is very, very concise. We understand that the communication is very, very key to the success of this exercise. So we have opened a communication channels. 1 is the portal. All the information regarding the bid round is posted in the portal. Secondly, there's a dedicated phone line, and we have also given a dedicated staff to attend to the queries from the investors. Thirdly, we have opened a dedicated email address where if you can't reach us, then the inquiries can be sent to us for response. We've also decided to publish the criteria. Before now, the criteria we keep to our chest, but we have decided, to make this available. So this will be, it's very, very necessary. It's very, very necessary for the investor so that we are open and transparent. Then, when RCCC resumed, one of the first questions he asked was, what of the audits? The system that you're going to use for the evaluation, has it been audited? We said no. And she insisted that we have a third party to ensure that the system is audited, and we are in the process of auditing the portal. Then finally, the selection of the winners will be in open and transparent. So putting all this together, I think it gives credibility to the exercise, and investors' confidence is also boosted. Next slide, please. So this is So this is the schedule of the funds. Some of these activities has been achieved. We started by November 2025 by announcing, we announced the bid round in November 2025. In line with the provisions of the PIA, advertisement was carried out in both internal and international newspaper. Then the portal was launched on December 1st, 2025. The registration, the portal for the registration was opened on December 2025. Then currently, by the end of this engagement, we would have achieved item 2.2. Then on the 28th of January 2026, we intend to organize a webinar. Then the closing of the registration is on the 27th of February 2028. And then we commence the evaluation of registration. That would take like 10 days. When at the end of that exercise, the pre-qualified pillars, that is applicant, would also be announced. Then we move to the technical and commercial bid. By 17 March 2026, we open a data room. This will enable the bidders to purchase the data, evaluate that data, and try to put on their bids. Then, in the same period, the technical evaluation will be submitted. Then by 15 June 2026, we'll begin the evaluation of the technical bid. That will take us to June 2026. Then at the end of that exercise, we will be able to notify the company who will be qualified to go to the next commercial bid. We propose the commercial bid conference to be held on the 16th of July 2026. And the notification of the winning bidders as stroke reserve bidder will be on the 17th July. And the fourth item is the ministerial approval and contracting. That will take between 20 July 2026 to 16 October 2026. So in all, this whole exercise will take about 11 months. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. So for additional information, the portal is br2025.nuprc.gov.ng. For a dedicated email for this exercise, it is br2025@nuprc.gov.ng. Okay, thank you so much. So far, it is NUPRC that has been dominating the conversation. So this is not only the NUPRC occasions. So at this session, we would allow the audience to participate. So there will be a question and answer.
Okay, can we rearrange the seats, please? If you have any questions, kindly raise up your hands. We have ushers.
Okay. So there will be a question and answer. We expect, comment. We expect recommendation. We also expect suggestion. So we have a team of NUPRC subject matter expert to join in answering the question from the audience. I would now call the lady, Fumi Adesoya, to join me on the stage. What? To put, okay, so please, can you put the distance? Sorry. Yeah, okay. So the next to join me on the stage is Hamad Abdullahi. So the next to join me is Dr. Amba Egwa. Okay, the next to join me is Anete Okon. Here. Okay, so the next is to Omar Hassan. Okay. Okay, so we are ready to take the questions from the audience. Thank you.
Okay, so before we proceed with the audience, we have a few questions online. We'll take 3 questions online, then we'll come back to the physical audience. We have 3 ushers, 1 in front, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the rear. So if you have any question, kindly raise up your hands and we will get to you. In the meantime, let's start with online. Toru, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So standing on existing protocols, the questions online is from Austin Idemudia. And his question is, what fiscal incentives are available to accelerate development of awarded blocks? Will the Commission allow flexible development timelines for marginal fields in the difficult terrains?
Okay, that's a fiscal question. Ogon, can you want to attempt that? Okay.
Okay.
You can be noted.
All right, another question from Austin Idemudia as well. If inconsistencies are identified in a block's data set after purchase, what mechanisms exist for correction, refund, or data update? Another question from Tejuro Ibru. Regarding technical experience, will the experience credentials of individuals within the consortium be taken into consideration, or will it only be the technical experience of the companies within the consortium that will count towards technical experience score?
Okay.
Thank you, Toru. Should we do, are they answering those ones first, or should we do the physical audience and put every...
Okay, okay, this one first. Okay.
Okay, so we'll take all the questions before we start answering. So if you have any question, kindly raise up your hand. I have a gentleman over there. I have two gentlemen over there.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Damilola. I'm from Levin. My question is, during the presentation, they were mentioning of two security, the bid security and the program security. I just want to find out, during submission, does the program security comes with the technical submission also, or it is after the offer you have the program security? That's the question. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Nicholas Okoye, the president of the Global Investment Advisory Community. A question twofold. One is, in terms of the physical obligations, the regulatory obligations, it doesn't say, if you can answer that, at what point do the concessionaires have these obligations for the various taxes? Is it after production? And if it is after production, are they allowed to recover cost recovery of the investment first before those regulatory and taxes obligations kick in? And if those taxes and regulatory obligations are prior to investment, do we have a model that provides for that distinguishing factor? Because for those that were making those investments or supporting those who win these concessionaires, that will be very important. Secondly is the distinguishing factor between the concessionaire model and the production sharing model. In terms of the concessionaire model, is it similar or is it the same thing as the sole risk, which I believe you folks used to call it back in the day? And then on the production sharing model, you mentioned that NNPC is the concessionaire in that case. In that case, how does that affect physically the responsibilities of the private investors who are part of that consortium once NNPC becomes the concessionaire? And I'm speaking from an investment advisory position because investors, institutional investors, will need to know how this is clarified. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, just to clarify, may we have one question per person, please, so everybody gets to ask a question. Thank you. Can we come towards this side, please?
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Engineer Oluka Odeladakwa. I'm with Ranu Akrit. We are the operators of Oloye Field. So the first one is a recommendation. The slides that we have presented today, are we going to have that? Will it be loaded on the website so that we can then look at that? So that's the first one. The second one is a question, and I think it's the elephant in the room. You have identified somewhat the blocks by basins, right? Niger Delta Basin has this number of blocks. Are we going to have a clearer definition of those PPLs, whether to the field level, right? Because that was what was done, if I remember very well, in the 2020 DPR bid round, right? So those kind of, we need to have that. And then the last one. So when you were making your presentation, for the data prime, you said that is optional. But the data leasing, you've got to pay, is mandatory. But you did not state a fee for that. So we need clarification for that. All right, thank you.
Okay. So let's pause for now and take answers to the question. Okay. Okay, so first we take the question from the online. It was asking about fiscal incentive.
Do you have extra microphone?
Thank you, Director. With respect to incentives, I've earlier mentioned the incentives from the policy intervention made by the President. But the PIA have some incentives, which include the oil royalties on a reduced rate compared to where we're coming from, and on a sliding basis to provide fiscal succor to period of low production. We also have the gas royalties for domestic supply being on a reduced rate. Then there is also production allowances claimable against the accessible profits determined for the net oil revenue from the crude oil across all terrain with respect to common tax. Then there is also common tax on a reduced rate for the PPI window. So these are myriads of PI incentives. To layer on that, the executive orders has provided critical interventions that have been mirrored in the Nigerian Tax Act. So it is now a statute instrument. That includes the production tax credit as high as much as 30 cents for every dollar earned on a net basis from greenfield non-associated gas development across the onshore, shallow waters, and even in the deep water, to also trigger the investment decisions that were weighed down by the low rate of returns compared to global standard. The President also intervened and made available production tax credit to be given back to every investor that has taken investment decisions. This is as high as 20% of the oil fiscal price, and is even higher when the reserve size is much higher than about 300 million barrels. There is even a reward scheme for operationally efficient operators, where the country has realized that for us to move from where we are, in terms of cost of production, we should reward and encourage good operational behavior that will translate to cost savings against benchmark target. So the Commission is charged to determine annually the benchmark target. And where a company has demonstrated and validated by the Commission, cost savings have been spread for the annual financial year. Those cost savings, 50% of the cost savings will be recommended to the taxman as efficiency incentive. And that will ensure returns of higher benefit to the applicable operator for the benefits of their financial providers. So they are all myriads of them. We are ready for investment, and the government is doing their much needed efforts as operationalized by the Commission to put in place mechanism to attract the capital. So be rest assured that you'll be given assets that will be operated within a predictable rule base and improve fiscal outcomes. So thank you.
So the second
Dr.
question.
Egba, you will address the
No, the second question online is that if I buy the data, after buying the data and there's inconsistency, maybe the gap in the data, is there a room for refund?
I think it was made clear here that there is no refund, right? You don't, government don't refund for whatever payment, particularly on data. And we should understand the fact that there is no any amount of data that will be provided that will be sufficient, right? That's why it's part of the expectation that you're going to use analog data from analog fields, right, to enrich whatever analysis you're going to carry out, right, as you purchase. So clearly, there is no refund on whatever payment you make for this purpose. Thank you.
Okay. So the third question is about the technical experience. So the question is, how is it going to be considered if I'm a new company and I'm not in operation? Will the promoters who has technical experience be considered to have made that requirement?
For technical experience, and you have a technical service agreement with a competent operator, that would be taken into consideration in the pre-qualification. So the reason is that I have to evaluate that technical service agreement that you have and look at the terms and that condition, whether it meets with the requirement of the PIA. And the promoters, of course, we look at the directors, then we look at the shareholders and all that, and see the requisite experience that you have. But if they do not have at that level, then we look at the directors. If that does not even exist, then we look at the technical service agreement that they have that we are going to use to develop that asset. That can be taken into consideration.
So the fourth question, which is a physical question, is, in this process, have we made a provision, deliberately made a provision for women that has maybe CEO of an oil and gas company to participate?
I think I'm the most appropriate person to answer this question. Well, our laws do not discriminate as to gender, and like it was mentioned during the legal and legal slides and overview, what is required is a Nigerian company, registered Nigerian company or a foreign company, and you're just required to meet the pre-qualification criteria. We don't have any specific incentives for people or for areas or indigeneity or anything, unfortunately. Thank you.
Okay, so the next question is, Doctor, we have fields that led to the naming of the blocks. In our own website or portal, will that be properly identified so that you know which field led to a block or which block led to a field?
No worry. We should understand the difference between the 2020 marginal field bid round and what PI has created. What PI created is clearly licenses. And in those licenses, At the stage of the PPLs, we don't name any field that is available there. What will be provided are the coordinates of the block for you to now use the coordinates and chart the location. If that peradventure falls wherever you might have information that has been discovered, that's fine. We're not providing names of fields in any of those blocks. Our expectation is the data you're going to acquire, right, will now indicate to you, that's from the seismic, will indicate to you, right, the seismic has been acquired over whichever may be block. So no names will be published for the fields because we're not doing marginal field bid round. What we're doing is licensing round for identified blocks. Thank you.
And if we go to the teasers on the licensing round portal, detailed explanation of the blocks on offer, they are very visible. And when you look at that, you see the some of them that have discoveries, you see the well names, you see all that. We are not particularly naming the field, but from that explanation in the teasers, of course, you can link the process and where the field possibly could have derived from. So we encourage everybody to go to the portal, look at the teasers that give an extensive explanation of what is in the block proposed for you to bid.
Okay, so the next question is there a fee for the mandatory data analysis, the fees?
Yeah. No.
So the data sources are the multi-clients and the NDR. And for the multi-clients, one year you would have access to communication whereby you could get the actual fees. And in terms of the NDR, the available data vary and the cost will be tied to the available fees in line with the third schedule of the NDR regulation 2020 that details the cost of data. Thank you.
So the next question is if the slide, the presentation slide, will be made available on our portal. Maybe the CZ would give the steer on that.
So eventually we will upload it on the portal. We have a webinar on the 28th of this month. I believe after the webinar, we will upload the presentations thereafter. We want to take your feedback and update, and then we can upload. Thank you.
So we take additional questions.
Please, we're going to be taking just 3 more questions. Please, just 1 question per person. And we can go to the back. I see a lady. I will come back to you, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gracia.
Hello. Can I put my question, please? Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Biswag Bose from Nuway Oakland Limited. My question is like any foreign E&P company, they have got very good experience but not registered in Nigeria. What is the time frame they should register themselves to qualify this bid round? And my second question is for the data. Is it the fixed cost or depending upon the size of the block, especially for the seismic? Thank you very much.
I had about data costs. It wasn't clear. Let me take the last part. You talked about the cost. We should understand the fact that each of the fields have different data type, and each of the fields have different quantum of seismic. So it is the quantum of the sizes and the data type that will determine the cost. So at this point here, we can't not mention to you, these are the costs for data for whichever. So it is when you access the portal and you now take a definitive decision on which assets you're going to bid, at that point you're going to get to know which and one. But the fact remains is the data type, the quantum of the size, because you understand seismic is being sold based on per square kilometer of what. So that's what is going to determine the cost of the data package that you're going to, yeah.
On the website, we are going to develop for the blocks that have data, we are going to develop a table where we are going to link where you are going to get what and what. You can go to the website and see it. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be the link so that I can get the cost.
There's a question for me.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Gracia. My name is Gracia Bonire from Templars, and I have...
So we can't hear you, please. Yeah.
My name is Gracia Bonire from Templars. So I'll be asking two questions. The first one is a short one. It's just a short one. It's a two-fold code.
Hello.
Okay. So the question is, the guidelines provides that foreign companies can participate in the bid round, in the foreign bid round. However, the grant of this award will be subject to them incorporating a Nigerian subsidiary. But what's not clear is the timeline. So paragraph 6.2 provides that, or 6.1 provides that all incorporated companies in Nigeria have to submit by 27th of February. So is this timeline applicable to the foreign subsidiaries as well, that foreign companies incorporating their subsidiaries, or does this apply to the local companies as well? I don't know if my question is clear. And also, the calendar displayed during the presentation does not include the roadshow. Does that mean that the roadshow has been cancelled?
I will take your first question. And yes, like you rightly pointed out, foreign companies can indeed apply to participate in this bid round, and they can they can also participate in the bid, but the PIA states that an award can only be granted to a company incorporated, a license can only be awarded to a company incorporated under CAMA. So we would expect that by the time, after the commercial bid, where you are notified, you should probably start your incorporation process. So but what is important is the award. So you have a 90-day window, as already indicated, to fulfill all the CPs. As appropriate, if you are a foreign national not incorporated in Nigeria, your offer letter will indicate that as a CP. So by that 90-day, the expiration of that 90-day window, the foreign company should have incorporated a local subsidiary. Now, to your question on the deadline, I'm not sure it's the deadline, but what it says is that companies incorporated up until February 27 can participate in the bid round or apply to participate in the bid round. That was just to understanding the various investment structures used in the upstream sector. That was just to allow certainty and planning for investors. So you will agree with me that applications can only be made by entities. So if you are a local entity
or even if you are an international applicant, you just want to go ahead and incorporate your local entity right away, that's fine. So that was just to provide some flexibility for investors. I hope that clarifies the question.
Thank you. I have a question, please.
Okay.
My name is Dr. Unduka. I'm with Judo Asset Management. My question is very direct. His Excellency, the Honorable Minister said we are in the time of sustainability in the oil and gas industry. Sustainable oil, sustainable gas, sustainable everything, because what is going on around the world, you can see from Venezuela to Ukraine to various parts of the world, we have a seismic shift in how geopolitics is interpreting the oil market. When the US went after Venezuela, people thought the price of oil would spike. It didn't, it went back down. So sustainable energy security is now critical. Where do you see the price of oil as a benchmark for a lot of your operations? That's my question. My second question is very simple. Are you flexible with your windows? So the 90-day windows, the 120-day windows, the 30-day window calendars, are we flexible with it, or is it so strict that if we don't meet those deadlines, we lose out on all these bids? Because there could be some challenges or some hiccups in majority of all these issues. So are you flexible with those windows or not?
One house, please. Thank you. Please be reminded that it is one question per person. Thank you. One question per person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You may recall that on monthly basis, the Commission is mandated by the PIA to publish fiscal price, which will be used by the operators to determine proceeds and other needs. As regard your project evaluation, the Commission always tells us the fiscal price annually to the budget price as passed by the National Assembly and assented to by the President. For this year, is at $60 US per barrel. The Commission also provides for an annual increment at the rate of 2%, so as to internalize inflationary pressures on the oil price. Then, regarding where we will be in the future, you may recall that the oil industry are price takers. So, and price forecasting is always subject to global disruptions, geopolitical directions, as you may see with the Venezuela issue and with the ongoing war in Russia. No one can predict what the oil price will be after a midterm of a year or two. But like I said earlier, at $60 oil price for the 2026, and with your incremental rate of 2%, you can actually have a forecast that matters. You all know that beyond 5 years, all your forecasts are subject to all sorts of unpredictable outcomes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can I go ahead?
Good afternoon.
This is the last question.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Oh, one more. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Olajumoke Ajayi, MD Ingencia Energies Limited, and also the president of NAPI. So I saw the list of 50 assets we are putting up for bid, and 15 of them are in the frontier environment. As an explorationist, I'm happy that we are looking at the frontier. But we talked about limited data, and I believe that the 15 frontier blocks will have limited data. So given that we want to explore more and have more reserve, Is there any incentive that we encourage people to go for the frontier because of the limited information that is there? So what can encourage us to look at those 15 licenses? Thank you.
As approved by the President and being operationalized by the Commission, you can all testify that the central bonus values are set at global competitive pricing. That is a trigger to vacate entry barrier. We all know the peculiarity of the frontier business, limited or no data, virgin status and all that. The PIA has built in incentives to guarantee breaks, zero at common tax, and then room for you to carry out exploration activities during the first 5 years. And when you showcase a demonstrable activities with validated report, you'll be given an extension window. And the PPL, the royalty rates are also limited to at the lower rate compared to the PML, the other set in the other terrains, except the frontiers are reclassified. So with all these measures that are in place, I believe that there is a targeted window of within 5 to 10 years for you to showcase the ability to make up your commercial production from the frontiers in the basket. I don't know whether that's keeping anything.
So, like what my colleague Annette Okon have said, President, what my colleague have said, you see, if you look at the PIA, if you go to section 78 of the PIA, the initial exploration period for the frontier areas have been given a distinct timeline. Now, in the frontier, you can do exploration activity for 5 years. Even, and what is that? That geophysical activities, man, for frontier, you have more time. You do geophysical activities for a 5-year period. And after that 5-year period, when you establish potential for maybe hydrocarbon accumulation and thereabout, you might now go now to the next period where you'll be given a license to do a drilling of wells and appraisals. After that, you can now even further get optional extension if, you are able to, demonstrate potential hydrocarbon accumulation. So, in terms of time, normally in terms of time, of course, time is an incentive too, man. Time, if you have time. Because most of the things we have, they will tell us PPL 3 years that we don't have enough time. So time itself is an incentive. So you have enough time to be able to do that. Then, the work program obligation is limited because you can only do geophysical activity. It's not compulsory that within that first 5 years of frontier, you are going to drill a well. So that itself is also an incentive. So the work program obligation for that first 5 years, if you look at it, even in the bond they are going to take, will not be equivalent to the bond you are going to take when you are drilling a well. That's an incentive in itself that should encourage the frontier development, aside from maybe the taxes and the limited things that are done according to PIA.
Okay, so the last question, right? Yeah. The last question. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
My name is Kenneth Otamiri. I'm the Managing Director of Future Exploration and Energy Development Limited. Sections 7.9 and 7.10 of the guideline strongly advises potential bidders to carry out independent investigation so that they don't come back to NUPRC to say, please refund us our money based on the data given if what they find is not exactly what is expected. Our technology can help the risk investors' decision in this regard. No, I'm coming. Can help the risk investors' decision so that all these questions are arising. NUPRC, will you refund us our money or give us another block that has better potential will not arise? So potential bidders, you can talk to me to help you.
Is a comment? Is a comment?
Question from here.
Some of our directors want to ask.
Okay, there's question we no answer though. One guy that asked, they asked question about what commitment that talk about bond and bid, what commitment and bond.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Wale Ogunsanya. I'm the chairman of PETAN. Honorable Minister, thank you very much. My sister, the CC, for this opportunity. Mine is going to be advice to NUPRC. One of the advice I will give, I was listening to Okon in your presentation, and you talk about once you drill, you explore, you fulfill all the requirements to become a PML. I'm going to advise very seriously in this era that we need a lot of volume of oil in Nigeria. The process of going from PPL to PML should be liberalized. The current asset owners in the 2020 bid, there are a few of them that had challenges. We had up to 10,000 barrels per day that it was taking them time to convert to PML. So that's one of the things I will advise very seriously in this environment where we need all the drop of oil in this country. We should fast track that process and encourage extended well test. Very important, because once you get to first oil, there is a lot of funds out there for us at Afrexim Bank to do more. So the more time we take to convert to PML, the more stranded volume that we have on the ground. Secondly, I will advise that the team looks properly into the Local Content Act. The Honorable Minister, Your Excellency, you're also the chairman of the Governing Council of NCDMD, which I sit on. So let's make sure we have a good look at what the Local Content Act, just like a PIA, the laws of Nigeria. I had the Honorable telling us that they are the referee to make sure that we obey all the laws. So in that process, I will advise that we look at it very critically. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We had a very important question that was asked earlier and wasn't answered, so I'll pass him the microphone to ask the question again. Thank you.
Actually, I think I asked about the fiscal obligations regarding the taxes, the regulatory obligations, how and whether there's a model that has been designed in order to provide investors with when their requirements become due, how it's broken into pre-investment and then post-investment. And then in terms of first oil, whether they're able to capture the cost oil first before some of those obligations become due.
Okay, thank you, sir. Madam Fumi, someone also asked whether the timing to pay for payment was flexible.
Timing to pay.
The model for payments is set out in the model contract you elect to, the contractual type you elect for. So the PSC is clear on, will set out all the models, and your concession will also do that. Now, with regards to timing, It's important that we stress that they are not flexible, because the regulations and specifically states that where the winning bidder does not fulfill the timeline within the 90-day window, the reserve bidder would we would offer the asset to the reserve bidder. So we don't have that flexibility, because the winning bidder would have lost his right, and we can't, to extend that timeline would be going against the regulations. Thank you.
Okay, so on the course of interaction with the audience, we've been taking note of the questions. So when we go back, we would update our frequently asked questions and post it on the portal for others to benefit from. With respect to the advice and the suggestion that we've been given, we will take it back and also see how we'll be able to enrich our process. So on that note, we've come to the end of this session. I want to thank everyone.
Thank you so much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this brings the formal program of the 2025 Licensing Pre-Bid Conference to a close. You are kindly invited to networking and lunch immediately after this session at the Sky Restaurant, Eko Main Penthouse. Where? Yes, at the Sky Restaurant on the top floor, Eko Main Restaurant. On behalf of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, thank you for your participation, your engagement, and your continued interest in the Nigerian upstream sector. I am Halima Yusuf Sada.
And I am Nkechi Nana. Thank you so much for joining us.
second job. You just need to know these AI tools.
So this is how I became the most dangerous